What's the most inaccurate thing your child has ever been taught in school? My 9-year-old daughter came home crying because her science teacher told her she was lying about her dad being an astronaut. My daughter Sarah had always been proud that I worked for NASA. Every show and tell, she'd bring my old space gloves or mission patches. Her classmates loved hearing stories about how astronauts eat and sleep in space. But then Mrs. Thompson joined the school as the new science teacher. During a lesson about space, Sarah raised her hand and shared how I had been on 3 missions to the International Space Station. Mrs. Thompson stopped the lesson and called her a liar in front of everyone. "Your father can't be an astronaut," she said. "NASA doesn't have any active missions right now. They stopped sending people to space years ago." Sarah tried to explain that I worked with both NASA and SpaceX, but Mrs. Thompson cut her off. The next day, Mrs. Thompson made Sarah stand in front of the class and apologize for making up stories. She even sent Sarah to the principal's office for spreading lies when my daughter started crying and insisted she was telling the truth. Sarah came home devastated. She showed me the F grade Mrs. Thompson gave her space project, with a note saying, "Stop making up stories about NASA." My daughter had spent weeks on that project, using real photos from my missions and actual NASA data. I was furious. I emailed Mrs. Thompson explaining who I was and attached my NASA credentials. She replied saying those could easily be faked and threatened to report me for encouraging my daughter to lie. So the next day, I walked into Sarah's class during science period wearing my full NASA flight suit. The look on Mrs. Thompson's face when I introduced myself was priceless. The kids went wild, especially when I pulled out actual moon rocks from my last mission. Mrs. Thompson tried to save face by saying she thought Sarah was making it up because NASA doesn't do space missions anymore. I projected the live feed from the International Space Station on the classroom wall and video called my colleagues who were currently up there. The other teachers heard the commotion and came to watch. Mrs. Thompson kept getting redder and redder as I showed the class real footage from my spacewalks. The principal walked in just as I was explaining how astronauts use the bathroom in space. When I pulled out Sarah's F-graded project, the principal was shocked. Mrs. Thompson had marked everything wrong, even the parts that used official NASA data. She had written "Stop lying" across Sarah's detailed drawing of the space station's solar panels. The next day, Mrs. Thompson was gone. The principal called an assembly to apologize to Sarah in front of the whole school. He explained that NASA is very much still active, and that having an astronaut's daughter in their school was an honor. A month later, I arranged for Sarah's class to visit Mission Control in Houston. Mrs. Thompson's replacement, a young teacher who actually understood modern space programs, helped the kids prepare questions for the astronauts on the ISS. Sarah's project is now displayed in the school's main hallway.